Fine. Now again, my data is or my Excel sheet in a normal stage now. No freezing option is available there. Nothing is there. It's just a simple Excel file. Here it is. But again, in this interface, you won't be able to read your header. You won't be able to understand what actually the data tells about the information about the data. So whenever you deal with some lengthy number of rows are there, it's always better to configure your Excel sheet in such a way where the header will be fixed, your data will be in floating position. One more time, if you want to freeze that 9th row, you have to select the +1 value, that is 10th row. Fine. Now go for the option view. In that view tab, come to this Windows category and go for this freeze span option and go for the first feature. Fine. So it make your up to your 9th row, it will be freezed. From 10th onwards, you can scroll down and without any changes for the first 9 row, you can scroll your data up and down. Fine. So it makes your Excel sheet more easy to understand, more easy to define your data. Fine. Now how to unfreeze this one? Go for the same feature. The icon will be changed as unfreeze icon tool now. So go for that. Okay. So that's how you can freeze the row option. Now, how to freeze the columns now? That means now the client's requirement is different this time. Okay, if you want to freeze or let this A column be freezed here. I want all this information to be scrolled. When I scroll horizontally, this data should be in a floating position only. So that the first row should be freezed. From B onwards, the column should be in a floating position. In that case, again apply the same formula. If you want to freeze A, you have to select column B. So that means you have to select the column header B. And when you want to freeze in a row format, you have to select the row headers from this point. So these are known as row headers and these are column headers. Now, in this situation where you have to freeze the first column, in that case, according to formula n+1. So select the second column, fine. Go for the same view tab, okay, and apply the freeze option once again, fine. Now move your mouse pointer horizontally. Here it is. Fine. That means if you have many number of columns in your data and you want to check your first year data or the last year data or first month data, last month data, in between too many columns are there. So you can compare the values easily using this feature. That is known as freeze option, freezing the pans. Right. Again, go for this drop down once again and unfreeze. Fine. Now you have noticed that at a time we are able to freeze either a row or a column. Right. For example, now let me come to that question once again. Configure this worksheet where you have to freeze row number 9. Okay. If I select row number 10 here, fine, go for this option and let me freeze this one. Okay, fine. Now we have to move vertically only. Here it is. Now the client requirement is different. Okay, can you freeze rows and columns at the same instant here? Okay, let me check. So can we do that one? Okay, let me go for this B column. Again, go for this freeze span. Why? Because it's already showing as unfreeze. So that means whatever freezing you applied there, first release all this freezing point, then only you'll be able to freeze any particular column and any other column or any other row. Fine. So that means at a time you won't be able to go for rows and columns. Fine. But there is one solution for this particular requirement. Now let me unfreeze this one. Right. Now keeping the client's requirement in my mind. The requirement from the client is, Ratish, can you freeze both rows and columns? I want to freeze columns and rows in a single Excel sheet at a single time only. In that case, don't use this column headers. Never select this row header or column header. Instead of that, select the point where you want to freeze. Now your requirement is this A column should be freezed and this 9th column row should be freezed, right? So that means including this row, sorry, in this column and the row where this points get intersected, right? So that means this is the point. So select the cell value B10. That means where you can view the header, data header, and the column header. Just select that point. Now go for the freeze option. Here it is. Now let me apply this freeze. Now any changes there? Okay, let me scroll horizontally first. Fine. Here it is. So that means the first row is freeze now. Fine. So that was the requirement. Okay. What about the top-down freezing? Fine. Here it is. So that means if you select any particular cell and apply the freezing option, your rows and column get freezed. When you select any particular column header or row header, at that time only that particular feature will be freezed. So that's the three different way to apply the freezing option. Fine, just try it once again. If you have any data in an Excel format, just try all these options. Right here, data is not important. Here, the important is the header should be there, row header and column header. Right, just try this option and try to configure your Excel sheet. Fine. Okay. Now, okay, let me release this freeze option. Go for unfreeze again. Everything sab kuch normal, back to normal. Now. Let me share one more sheet here. Let me share. Okay, freeze span. Now this is a survey report, right? Normally, if there's a survey conducted by any organization or any department, this is how the data get collected, right? If it's 1, okay, that means it's yes. If it's 0, that means no, right? Some values are there. Again, don't give too much of importance to this data. Give importance to the layout only. Here, the client requirement is make the first row freezed. Fine. So that means here no other data are specified ahead of that row number 1. Right? No specific data, no rows and columns are inserted to this first row above that first row. And here the requirement is simple. Make this first row freezed. Now, if this is the situation, again, no need to select one or no need to select any particular row or column here. Directly come to this. Now I'm not selecting any particular row or column. I'm directly coming to this view tab in that Windows section. Now this time let me use the other two options. Freeze top row. So that means once you click that instruction, but once you give that command to the Excel sheet, Excel will check, okay, which is the first row in my Excel sheet or where's the first row. It will check and freeze that particular row. So that means you don't have to be more define that, okay, you have to select row number 9 or 10. You don't have to tell anything there. You have to just tell the Excel that just freeze the first row. So Excel will treat the first row or the first row will automatically get freezed. Now, if you scroll down, hit the first row will be there in the freezing point only. Now, same way you can try with your columns. Again, use this drop down, unfreeze one. Now go for this freeze span and first column freeze. So again, Excel will check the first column and it will freeze that particular column for you. Here it is. So that's the three different way to freeze your pans using these three different options. So I think it's clear, right? How to freeze your data, how to freeze your first row, and how to freeze your first column, and how to freeze both rows and columns also. So if you have any data, just try these examples. You can just keep a note of all the things and try in your Excel sheet. Fine. So that would discuss about view tab and the freezing option. Now I'm not going in a sequence, right? I'm not dealing with all the view options here. But according to the requirement and the questions, we'll discuss some features here. So it will be a random data, random tools only. Don't think that I'm using the view tab and I will discuss all the features. No, it's not like that. According to the question, we'll discuss some feature. Why? Because all these features are not interconnected. ऐसा नहीं है कि आप view पढ़ने के बाद ही आप अगला सीख सकते हो. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. All are independent, right? So this is the view tab and the freezing option. Clear? Fine. Now let me close this file. Now let me share one more file with you and let me share the data here. Okay. Share the data. Let me show the data. Fine. Okay, I'm skipping some basic feature. Let me go directly for this one. Okay. Now again, some simple tasks for you. Again, those who are aware of these features, please be patient. Be in the team only. Let me include all other members who are not into this Excel platform, who are the first or who are new to this platform. So this session is exclusive for those members who are new to this Excel platform. Right. Okay, now there are